Hey, welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff here with co-host Chip. What is going on, Chip? What's going on, everybody out there in the On the Chain family? Future of money, exploring the impact of gold, Bitcoin, and XRP.
Let's do it. You ready to go?
Do it. Let's go.
Welcome to On the Chain.
Welcome, everybody. As you guys are piling in here, where are you coming in from? Just go ahead and throw it in the chat. And if you're on the rewatch, if you're watching the rewatch, throw it in the comments. That's the same thing. We read all comments, every one of them, good, bad, indifferent.
I got some Manuka honey.
Ooh, that looks fantastic. That's what you need for that throat. Get it back in order, man. Nothing better than soothing that throat than honey, man.
Man, it's like a week already. I'm trying to talk out of the diaphragm instead of upper. Not that it's helping much, it's helping a little bit.
Yeah, how does it feel like when you wake up? Do you have that Barry White voice? Your voice is like this in the morning. It's like just grumpy and Barry White.
Like this. It's been like this for a week. All of a sudden, just like one day, my voice just disappeared. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, I hope you find it soon.
I've been looking everywhere.
Look at that right there. What's up? Jim D is in on time. Wait a minute. What's going on? Jim D is here early? Good to see Jim D in. That's not a show without Jim D's commentary, man. It's the best. All right, so I wanted to get some. Let's go to this right here. So I saw this, Jeff. This is Egreg Crypto. He's always talking about she. I don't know. I'm going to assume it's a guy, but he's always talking about this account. I should say XRP. But this time, Jeff, XRP. This time, it's different the 9th of September 2024. You're probably saying, like, well, what's different? Well, examining the behavior of the 21 EMA and the 25 of the 55 MA on the 2 weekly time frame. You know what kind of talk that is?
Yep.
It's TA talk, Jeff. That's TA talk. The behavior of the 21 EMA and the 55 MA on the 2 week time frame.
Moving average.
Yeah. Definitions. Bearish if you cross the 55 MA, crosses the 21 EMA. Bullish if the crosses the 21 EMA, crosses the 55. So he's saying that the behavior of the 21 is going to cross the 55 equals bullish. Okay, there's the definition. First cycle. Bearish cross the bullish cross 574 days. The bullish cross the cycle top 294 days. Cycle B, 658 days on bearish. Bullish is going to be 140. Cycle C got 504 days. How do you even do this stuff, Joe? This is what always cracks me up. It's like cycles.
It'd be nice if we had a graph or something.
Well, we do have it. It's coming up.
Look at.
Yeah, we have it coming up. This indicates from the bullish cross that we have surpassed the duration of cycle B, but are still within the time frame of cycle A. If history repeats with cycle A, then the 9th of September 2024 could be the next cycle top. XRP Army, stay ready. If we pass the 9th of September and XRP has not reached the all-time high or experienced a major pump, I can confidently say this time is different.
There it is.
So there it is right there. So these are the cycles right here, right? So this is the first one. This is B. And well, it'll be different because it'll be yet another year where you're still at 40 cents. It'll be different because yet another year, and it's going to be different than the previous 12 years. So there you go. But anyway, I thought that was interesting. So Jeff, why don't we dive into something interesting?
Got a lot of good stuff to cover today.
We do. We got a lot of videos. We're going to watch some stuff, and we're going to mini workshop it here. We're going to do it. Watching glitches? Hi boys. Good evening, Fabio. Fabio, we have to have a conversation, Fabio.
We do.
I don't know if you caught our show yesterday, but we're gonna the end of the show yesterday. We're gonna have to have a conversation, like a real convo. But it was great meeting you in person. Of course, Fabio was the executive director of the World. What is it? World of Innovation. What Jeff? What is it?
Wave of Innovation. We've been talking a lot of world stuff.
I wonder where world came in, Jeff. Wonder what's that's all about. Well, that's what we'll chat about. But let's go into innovation. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, man. He's a cool dude.
Very cool guy.
Let's do this, Jeff. I think there's some things we probably need to talk about here, and let's get these puppies queued up. So the first one here, let's do this one first, okay? So
all right, here we go. This is a good one.
Do you want to give it a
I think this is gonna set the theme, right? The tone of kind of the direction things are moving in on a global scale, especially right here. Think about overtaxation. Think about where your money goes. Think about whose money it really is. And there we
Right.
go. That's the setup.
Jeff, that was a beautiful setup. We have to do more of this. That was a beautiful setup. Now I'm excited, right? So you
All
want
right,
to hear it.
now we're gonna get into it. And
Let's
now
listen to
think
this.
Margaret
Here,
Thatcher.
Margaret Thatcher, let's hear this.
State has no source of money other than the money people earn themselves. If the state wishes to spend more, it can do so only by borrowing your savings or by taxing you more. And it's no good thinking that someone else will pay. That someone else is you. There is no such thing as public money. There is only taxpayers' money.
That's
That's right.
a great one. And
It is, Jeff. And
unfortunately, our representatives they don't think that way.
oh, this is our representatives. I
know.
don't care what country you're living in right now, but this is all of our representatives, right? They go there with really good intentions, and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. They don't do this or that, but they do get very rich,
Right.
and they get very
Right.
connected. You know, what's interesting is, what people forget is the government doesn't make anything. It only takes.
Mhm.
Okay. And it'll take as much as they're willing to take, because no one comes and knocks on your door and says they're going to lower taxes. Wait, the orange man did that. The orange man did roll the taxes back. You know what's funny about that, Jeff? Is the resident in the White House never rolled those back. We kept hearing they're going to roll them back. We kept hearing they're going to roll them back. But when you mess with people's wallet, they notice it. You can say the best economy in 300 years. You can say, my God, the economy's on fire. But the one day when they get their paycheck and we're missing money out of it, Jeff, well, that's how you know they're. And isn't it? I mean, is it any surprise that they didn't roll it back?
There's so many bad things happening.
Where do you
Now,
start?
yeah, where do you start? You want to add one more thing, pile it on. That, it's already bad enough they won't acknowledge the inflation. How about that?
Well, also they act as if inflation's like a number that goes up, right? So it goes up to 9%. You're like, oh my gosh, it's at 9%. But then it goes back down to 3%. You're like, oh, thanks. But what people fail to listen, it's additive, right? That's why in 1972 we can't, you can't buy what you could in 1972 because the inflation never stopped. It's like, oh, prices are only going up at 3% now. Oh, thank God. You mean it's not 9 or 12% anymore? No. We've totally fixed that, right? And under Orange Man, it was 1.6 inflation. It's always going up, right? But it's kind of you're constantly adding to it. So yeah, we go back 3 years, and what is that? And I always see, like, there's one influencer who loves to post what's going on with inflation, like we are in such a
Yeah.
good place. Like, no, we're not a good place, because you add 12% this year, that stays there, it didn't move. Then you add another 7% the next year, then you add another 4%. Okay, prices are going through the roof. It's not any sort of a. But Jeff, you know who was in Miami today?
Let's put it up there. Let's see if any Formula One.
Formula
Miami today.
One was in Miami.
Special
Today.
guest at Formula One today.
Check out the
Who could
special
have
guest.
been? Who
Let's
could have
check
been?
this out.
Oh yeah, the true leader, true
That's-
leader, true president comes out, shows the initiative, comes out and shows that was awesome. See the passion. That was really perfect.
Yeah, and
Love
then
it.
you see the resident shows up there. He stumbles through a gas station, and
Yeah,
people are just like,
such a
please don't come
disaster.
over and talk to me. They don't even. It's just. But don't worry, the most votes in history, Jeff. That's what we were told. So I'm sure. I read it on the internet, so I'm sure it's true. Why would you doubt anything else?
There's a comment from Jim D right there.
The inflation, this is Jim D. Look at this. The inflation is inherent in the Ponzi currency system. Politicians on all sides are buying votes and paying it with the hidden inflation tax. Man, couldn't have been said any better, Jim D. That's why it's important you're here on time so we can read these commentaries. This is very good. This is also another one. Oh, you didn't put that one up? Let's put this one up here. Robert Dennis says 2% of 0 is still 0, so JP Morgan got fined for not keeping good trade practices and monitoring. I wonder what could help them monitor transactions better. No doubt. What could? I don't know. Robert, I
maybe a little bit of ledger, blockchain ledger.
Put my finger on it. Yeah, maybe that, or just blockchain period. Yeah, so interesting. A JP Morgan coin, I guess. Still messing around with that thing. I don't know what's going on with that.
Evolution of Dem presidents. JFK man on the moon. Obama put a man in a ladies' restroom. Biden put a man on the girls' sports team. There you go.
It's in the dumper.
That's pathetic.
And then Orange Man came out and said, what did he say? He's like, we're getting rid of all this garbage. It's so funny. It's like talking about protecting women and well, first of all, you have to define the woman, right? And it happened again. There was a trying to think of what it was, some sport, and they had one guy on the team who was a man, right? Born a man, whatever. Say
at a race. Yeah.
Did you see like with 25 other and just dominated, just destroyed it, I recall.
So the man came in first, but he would have come in last in a men's group.
Correct.
So
yeah, he's dominant against women.
So pathetic. It's a mental illness, and people are embracing this mental illness, and they're allowing it to foster. And now we all have to live within this mental decay of society by allowing men to compete in women's sports after women fought all those years to actually get sports, and they have their own have sport teams, etc. And there's obviously now they're just undoing everything rapidly, and it's such chaos. Just that's why it's such a mental disorder. We're just living in this alternate reality.
Yeah,
so
I think it is just so in the NBA, the WNBA, that's the women's NBA, right? So they've had some really stars sort of step in. Caitlin Clark, probably the most famous, but there's a bunch of them, right? And so you see Caitlin Clark burying 3-pointers almost at the half court line, right? This is insanely good and a game changer, right? You start seeing this and they're like, well, how come you're not showing other people well, because she's burying 3-pointers, right? And when I think about sport now, can you imagine someone like Caitlin Clark? There's a whole host of brand new rookies that are just going to be amazing. Can you imagine what would happen, Jeff, if they let a guy on one of those teams, like even like he retires from the NBA and he goes and says, now his name is Shirley, and surely he can play ball. And surely he can do a lot of things, but I mean, this is what will happen if you do this in pro sports. And what about the women's, the national team, the soccer team? I mean, you got to call it, Jeff. You got to call these people out because it's a lot of insanity. And I don't know where it stops, but it has to stop soon. But this is what happens when you say like, oh, let's just, sure. But I don't understand why the mental illness is like, why there's such an outbreak. What we're seeing on these college campuses, it's like you guys who are into the LGBTQ elemental PO movement. I hate to tell you this, but if you are from that community, they throw you off a building, and when you survive, they stone you to death. So what are you fighting for? I'm like, what? Like, were you not educated on what happened on October 7th? I mean, imagine a family member being raped in front of you and killed. And then they kill you, and this is peak like mental illness, Jeff. I just don't understand it. And then magically overnight, all the campuses, they were all equipped. They all, we're talking about 70, 80 campuses adding campmans. They had tents, they had everything. But we're supposed to believe it's an organic movement. They can't even organize what they're going to do on the weekend, but we're supposed to think that they organized this big thing. It's insane. Is there any giveaways? Not tonight, Precious.
No giveaways tonight.
No
but the thing, it's not organic. It's definitely been paid for, but it's also the next thing. Right? So you had Antifa, you had BLM, this is the ramp up for the next election cycle, except these people are just out of their mind crazy at this point. Absolutely, they don't have a place in civil society. My opinion. These students are stupid. They obviously have proven that this education they're getting is worthless. These universities, these Ivy League universities, are garbage institutions at this point. They're not going to recover. There's no way you can recover reputation for Columbia, Harvard, Yale, UCLA. Any of these universities are now just pathetic uh, 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 bastions of perpetuating ignorance and useless paper degrees, which has been the theory going for a long time. I mean, it's the ultimate of a capitalist institution where you sell a piece of paper for $80,000 a year. Talk about garbage. And think about these professors that have never worked a day in their life. Never. You know, I'm not going to take away from being a professor. You want to waste your life and be a professor. Hey, great. You know, but you've never worked an actual honest day in your life because you never left a college campus unless you actually did and you went and worked and then came back and taught. I get it. You want to bring what you learned in the real world, bring it back to your students, you know, but it's so, uh, flagrant now, you know, and it's in our face. They adhere to communist rhetoric. They're educating communist tactic, socialism, the demoralization of this constitutional republic, and that's what it's about. And now we've been witnessing a transfer of wealth, which is moving money, which these students get these loans, right? You get an 18-year-old kid, they can get a loan for $300,000. Take that money, you pump it back into these institutions where you have these professors that are teaching communist tactic. I mean, the whole thing is so absurd. I would
Well,
love to see, you know, we go back, kind of have a resurgence, and we got to figure out what we're going to do with these people.
so when I was talking before, Who's Crypto said, to be fair, Chip, there's a genocide going on. Oh, please point me to where that genocide's happening. I would love to know more about it because the last time I checked, and Bibi Netanyahu, he had said that, quoting some scripture, I can never say it right, but he was basically, there's a time for peace, there's a time for war. He said it right. This is a time for war. When you go in and you make an attack and someone attacks you, you're done. That's it. And if you caught some of our shows where Jeff and I were showing that they're teaching 3-year-old kids with guns and, or knives or sticks or whatever they're doing, how to kill Jews and how to hate Jews at 3 years old. At 4 years old, they have cartoons for them to tell them how to hate and kill Jews.
And they have forever. They've never.
And this is not something new. And I'm not saying there's not, but you tell me which country in the history of war drops pamphlets letting them know what area they're going to target 48 to 72 hours ahead of time. I'm going to say none because it doesn't happen with war, but it has happened with Israel and the attacks, and it has been laser. And yeah, there's going to be some collateral damage, and it's sad and unfortunate. But again, when you have the people who elected these terrorists to be your government and Hamas, then and their number one thing is to, from the river to the sea, what do they want? They want to eliminate Israel, but they want every Jew dead. But if it was Hitler saying, it's like, well, that was horrible back then. It's the same thing, but worse. They just don't have the means to carry it out like Hitler did. But it's the same. People thought, oh, that was a horrible message. Yeah, Hitler was no good. But it's the same message, man. That's what
we're seeing these. Most of these are beta males, the ones that are wrapping their face and and all this stuff. But you're starting to see what they're doing though. The beta males think they're tough because they're in a group and they're getting out there, and then they're blocking Jewish students and other students from walking on their campus. And they went beyond protest to where they took over the place, and they're obviously they're obviously they caused a lot of irreparable damage. I guess it's repairable damage, but they damage the facilities, and they go beyond freedom of speech when they start singling out the Jewish students and blocking them and not allowing them to pass, and other choice things that they are trying to do over there.
Jeff,
And
I've learned that when you're
gone
saying
rogue
something, when you're saying something serious, I should not read the comments, start laughing when you're saying something
Oh
really,
yeah,
really
that's
important and serious.
problematic.
Because when I ran into this, is like
Oh, yeah,
Josh Vanderplas says you sound like RFK
yeah,
Jr.
that
with the
one and
voice,
this one here.
with the
He went
voice.
to a transformation.
Yeah, unfortunately, Jeff has been losing his voice for what, 2 weeks now?
No, it's been a week. A week.
All right. Feels like 2
It was
weeks
last
sometimes.
weekend. No.
It feels like 2 weeks, so that's what it is. I think Bitcoin. There you go. Speaking of that, anyway, but Jeff, I want to play this one video. One of them is kind of a serious one, but this was kind of funny. I have not seen this one. You guys may have seen this one, but somebody wrote on X saying that Nickelback had a new video out about the XRP community. And the funny thing was, you used to go to a URL called "Is Nickelback the worst band ever?" .com, and when you would hit enter, it would just be a giant yes on the screen. So, but here it's somebody finally took it down. But here it is.
In the heart of crypto, where the memes do fly, there's a crew of XRP fans reaching for the sky with pockets full of ripple. They're ready to play, but time for the Riddlers making moves their own way.
Jeff, you missed it. Did you see that, Jeff?
No, I love it. We got on the screen too.
Okay.
XRP, they chant with glee, holding tight like it's the key. But in the shadows lurk the ones with hate, spreading rumors no one to fake. We gather on Twitter with emojis galore, spreading XRP love, wanting more and more, but lurking in the depths of conspiracies blur. They whispers and rumors on XRP, they chant with glee, holding
Anyway, you get the idea. But that was kind of thought that was kind of funny. That was pretty good. This next video is Neil Matra. He's the partner at Dashard, former fintech and crypto specialist at the SEC, formerly of Sullivan and Cromwell. Let's listen into this.
Speaking of secondary exchanges, which you just mentioned, it reminds me of the other big legal domino that has yet to fall, and that's the Ripple case, right? Which focuses specifically on whether XRP is a security, right? It seems like in that case, or in some related cases on that topic, the courts can't agree on what the right approach is. I was a little surprised by that. In reading, for example, Judge Torres's opinion, one of the first ones that came out. Neil, can you explain what's going on here? Because this is pretty confusing. In fact, it almost represents, to think a lot of other people, that there is not a single way for the SEC to look at this.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Ming, that this has been an area of judicial disagreement. And it's funny because all three of the judges who are relevant here are in the Southern District of New York. So in a single federal district, the judges can't agree on what how these secondary trading how the secondary trading of crypto should be treated. And it's helpful maybe to just set the stage a little bit here and say, the question here is, Judge Torres says, in the primary offering of XRP, people know they're buying from Ripple and they're relying on Ripple's efforts to make a profit for them. So that makes it a security. But when you're buying...
That's incorrect. Imagine you're a former partner at Sullivan and Cromwell, right? You want to talk about a grifter attorney. Anyway, you want to talk about the former SEC and former, now he's a partner at Detcha, right? Another big one. So you got to be, there you go. Who says it's very confusing for Sullivan and Cromwell lawyers that, go ahead, leave that up there. I was reading that. That misrepresent the facts that cover up for themselves. No, that's a good point. But he doesn't even get it right. First of all, it was institutional investors. He acts like the general public was purchasing, and if you knew it was from Ripple, then it was okay. That's not how it went down. They were talking about XRP was a security on institutional sales, because they were purchasing directly from Ripple, and there's some other things involved in there as well, right? When it meets the Howey test. The second part of that is the reason Judge Torres said is because people didn't know who Ripple was, that they're buying off an exchange, and you didn't know where it came from. You don't know if it was Ripple. You didn't know if it was, if somebody else was selling, you're buying. So that's what that. So generally, XRP for everybody who's purchasing off of an exchange, it's not a security, and it never will be. So this guy is like, he doesn't even understand right from the get-go. It's amazing.
Judge Torres says, in the primary offering of XRP, people know they're buying from Ripple and they're relying on Ripple's efforts to make a profit for them. So that makes it a security. But when you're buying on an exchange, you don't know who you're buying it from. These transactions are what she called blind bid-ask transactions by often very unsophisticated investors who aren't parsing the marketing or stuff like that very clearly.
Do you see how he just put down? You see how he just put down people?
Oh yeah. Yep.
They don't know what they're doing.
They don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to
they don't know how to properly parse. They don't know, Jeff.
They don't know how to research.
They don't
know how to look into
research. They're
That's
just
it.
a bunch of morons, really.
Yeah.
Especially these XRP army. He just called the XRP army unsophisticated morons.
Closely, they don't have any expectations from Ripple in the same way, according to Judge Torres, that primary purchasers do. So she says secondary trading of crypto is different and doesn't involve securities. But then you've got Judge Rakoff in the Terra case, which involves Do Kwon, and then you've got recently Judge Faya in the Coinbase decision, and they both take the view that no, if you look at the amount of marketing that these crypto companies are doing and the kind of marketing they're doing, they're reaching both primary and secondary investors, and so secondary trading of crypto is also securities trading, and so they disagree with.
Oh, so I see. He's primary is institutional, and secondary is the morons, right? Okay, gotcha. Yeah. I get the way he was saying that now. Okay, well, he kind of was right. The primary, the people that know what they're doing, Jeff, they're the primary ones. The secondary,
we're talking about institutions. Yeah.
Those people are just dumb.
With Judge Torres. So I think it's inevitable that this is going to go to the Second Circuit and maybe even further. Who knows? But so there's a lot left to go in this particular decision. Just like with Coinbase, I think you could see it go all the way. And I think the other thing that I would sort of say here is that the SEC doesn't see I think the SEC doesn't necessarily see the Ripple case as being a failure of its theory that secondary trading of crypto is securities trading. They just see it as maybe we couldn't put forward the evidence sufficiently well to convince the court, and we'll fix that at the Second Circuit level. So again, just to echo Dax, lots of litigation left.
True.
Thanks for that. Whatever you just said. I mean, it was.
I kind of agree. I mean, we haven't seen the end of it yet.
No, we haven't.
There's still a lot of daylight left on the.
That's a daylight.
The lawsuit.
Jeff, what are these comments here? XRP GriftTuber conventions X rapidly.
Ending.
It's ending. AI will replace us all. It's possible. I just sold all my XRP after watching that. Josh Platt says that.
It's the best.
Josh Vanderplat's better late than never. Yeah, this is man.
Because he just sold off his XRP. That other video we saw.
Would you keep it? That was ridiculous. Why would you even keep it? Alchemist, I'm trying to get him into computer programming.
Talk about his son. Son's making music with AI. You gotta follow along. Yeah.
I'll make it. I should put some music up that I made with it. I do everything with AI. AI is part of my life, man. My whole workflow is AI, dude. Everything I do is AI. Sell AI. That's what I do. I mean, it's like, it's in my blood now. It's like, so it's fantastic. I am AI. An interesting palindrome. That is an interesting palindrome. Whoa. Nice one. ASM Future, bringing that.
Nice.
You know what? That's got to go on a shirt. I am AI.
AI.
Interesting
palindrome.
An interesting palindrome. Wow, very good. Which means the same forward as backwards.
Mm-hmm.
Man, look at you bringing it.
That's good.
Smartest like people, I'm telling you, in crypto right here. Especially this guy right here. He's given a lot of credit there. It's 50%. Guys, you should be happy with that. He probably thinks it's more like 90%, but anyway, so I have to laugh at this stuff, Jeff. I mean, some of the stuff that we have to see. We got some other videos to go through. There's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this one.
Yes.
Central banking. Let's talk a little about this one. This is a good one to watch and kind of like unpack.
Oh, this one, when we unpack in this video, just listening to the way these guys talk and try to figure out the nuance. So let's play it.
Yes.
You create money is very simple. We create money electronically, if I can say. We credit accounts of, well, that people will not understand again. It's an image, you know. So I mean, this is off now. Huh? I could say I print banknotes, but it's an image, you know. It's not the way we do because it goes via the banking system.
Oh.
But couldn't you
Yeah, how would you say that? Because
we lend.
Nah, but lend. No, it's not. Well, no, we create money. It's not lending money. We create money.
No, you lend it.
We lend to commercial banks,
That's not
and
true, no, not true.
That's true.
The moment of this lending creates the money.
No,
because
no,
we
but
credit-
no. I see what you mean. But it's not even true what you say. When you've let me give the we are not. That's the classical way.
Nervous.
Nobody's going to understand what you say. But normally, it's. I would just think about the situation. I print banknotes. I just in my office I print banknotes, and with these banknotes I will buy you something, and I give you this banknote, and you give me a bond that you have bought before. You have a Schatz, you know, you have a treasury bill, you know, in your investment, or and then you sell it to me, and I give you cash which I have produced. But we do that electronically.
Jeff, he doesn't want you to know. He doesn't.
You get that? You understand what he said?
Jeff, he does not want anybody. Well, no, that's not true. We don't lend it. That's what a central bank does. It lends you money, and then you owe the money. You owe it. There's a debt paid on that. There's an interest paid on that. It's not your sovereign currency. That's what a central bank does. It's like, no. That's not even true. We don't do that. Jeff, come on. We don't. What the hell?
It's not what
That is a funny, wicked video. I want to hear more of this guy right here. This guy's great. I just want to see him in his office printing money. Print.
He was almost as good as Jared Bernstein.
That was
yesterday.
Was that even worth watching again? I think it is.
Oh yeah, that's worth watching again.
That right there was that was money all day long. These
And
guys.
then, hang on.
Central
It's
banker.
weird. So here's hang on. Hang on a second.
What do you got there, Jeff?
Let me pull being that and it's so strange. This guy, even Fox Business was talking about his misunderstanding of. Hang on a second. So here's what's weird, right? That guy. Oh, you already got it up too. I thought you were going to pull. I was going to do it.
The U.S. government
juxtaposition
can't go
between the two.
bankrupt because we can print our own money.
It obviously begs the question, why exactly are we borrowing in a currency that we print ourselves? I'm waiting for someone to stand up and say, why do we borrow our own currency in the first place?
Right.
Like you said, they print the dollar. So why does the government even borrow?
Well, again, some of this stuff gets, some of the language that some of the language and concepts are just confusing. I mean, the government definitely prints money, and it definitely lends that money, which is why the government definitely prints money, and then it lends that money by selling bonds. Is that what they do? They
waiting for Jim.
They sell bonds. They sell bonds, right? Because they sell bonds and people buy the bonds.
Look at that. Chair of the Council of Economic Advisors, President Joe Biden. This is absolutely Jeff. He thinks the government actually prints. He thinks the government prints the money. Dude, no, a third-party entity called the federal, not federal, some third party is a debt instrument where you have to borrow that money and then you have to pay interest on that money.
Oh my God.
That's what they do. They buy bonds. Wait a minute. They buy bonds, Jeff? What do they do?
And lend them the money. Yeah. So
I don't know.
a lot of times, at least to my ear with MMT, the language and the concepts can be kind of unnecessarily confusing, but there is no question that the government prints money and then it uses that money to
Police America. Police the citizens.
Yeah, I guess I can't really talk. I don't get it. I don't know what they're talking about. Like, because it's like the government clearly prints money. It does it all the time, and it clearly borrows. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this debt and deficit conversation. So
it's the first time he got it. He was getting around close to it.
Getting
He said they borrow. Right.
He's
The
getting
government doesn't print it, though. That's the central bank.
It's just weird, though. Look,
I don't think there's anything
right,
confusing there.
oh shoot, yeah, shoot. Trying to do like a juxtaposition of the two of them.
The two,
Like, what?
The
Like,
U.S.
what's going on
government
here?
can't go bankrupt
Right.
Yeah.
Like this guy.
because we
This
can
guy?
print.
Why does it
Yeah.
keep playing?
It just plays when you.
Why do they make two of these? Why are they all putting these out and saying the same thing? And they don't even know.
Same
And they're-
movie? I would watch this
it's
movie.
the
By the
same.
way.
It's the same movie, different country. I mean, it's just like what's
It's the same thing. They don't know what's going on. They don't know.
It's like what
Bad
in
actors.
the
Like who's
world?
crypto said they're hiring some really
Holy
incompetent
crap.
actors these days.
Where'd that go? They're not even
They're not even. I don't even know if
Here we
they're.
go.
They're not even.
not
they're
even competent actors.
They're not competent at all. They're not even. You can't even get a
Oh my
competent.
god,
Let's go into. Let's check this out right here. This is
complicated.
I'm gonna play back-to-back clips. This is Garlinghouse and this is Schwartz
They
from.
can print their own money. That's it. They just print their money. What's the purpose of taxes? Margaret Thatcher said there is no state money. It's your money. It's taxpayer money,
Correct. Yep.
and that's it.
That's pretty much all it is. And
And
the
then they
funny thing
print
is,
money.
well, remember her famous statement is like, yeah, it's always great until you run out of other people's money. You know that you run out of other people's money at some point because, like, because what was this big thing that went around? They were gonna these like some city in California was gonna just pay people just for fun, just like we'll do. I'm like, well, who
They were paying them a UBI,
Yeah, who are you gonna
like
pay?
4,000 or something.
What are you paying them for? And
What?
for with it? Like, so people are going to do nothing and they're going to get other people's money that they paid into this and they're going to just distribute it to whoever they want. Perfect.
Which is what's going on right now. I
There
mean,
you go.
you think about
Here's Brad Garlinghouse. This is a very short clip. This was from Vegas, but let's listen to this here. No.
Anyone thinks that Ripple is not 100% behind XRP is just missing. They've lost the plot. Like, we are totally committed, and that we will remain totally committed.
Yeah. What does that mean, Jeff?
It doesn't mean anything.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I watched this like 4 times and I go, what does this mean?
Anyone thinks that Ripple is not 100% behind XRP is just.
I think this has to do with the whole idea that they were getting a lot of flack because of their liquidity product that they were using Ethereum and right. So and they weren't using
Moving to a
XRP.
stable coin.
Now they're doing a stable coin. So it's kind of, this whole stable coin thing where what's weird is they announced it, but it's still not available. I think that you need to announce it when you roll it out. I don't know. Seems a little bit weird to me. And then here's David Schwartz saying something pretty interesting here.
An example is programmability on the XRP ledger. Hooks came completely from outside Ripple. It's a phenomenal idea, and it can bring smart contract-like functionality to the XRP ledger, which we think is fantastic. We are very open to thoughts and suggestions. We want the XRP ledger to be, owned and controlled by the community. The participation that we've seen from validator operators, from developers.
Okay, so if you want it owned by the community, Jeff, let's get the Hooks Amendment fired up, and let's get the vote so we get smart contracts. If that's truly the case,
let's get rid of the escrow.
Let's go. Burn the escrow.
Burn the escrow.
Well, first of all, I think
We
the
can
best thing
distribute
to
it. Yeah.
Distribute the first 20 million to all the people that were holding through this lawsuit. Yeah, because you know why?
Right.
To put up
There
an
you go.
amendment to compensate the people who were damaged. So give them distribute that equally 20 million, of that XRP. I mean, if it's owned by the community puts up an amendment, 80% consensus, boom, passes 2 weeks, we're in. So if that's really the case, then I would think that would be fabulous, right? I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
Take out of escrow and start supporting some of the projects out there, the developer
Right.
projects.
Well, they're supposed to be. Don't give $100 million to some gaming company that you never heard from. We never heard that name again. It was a couple years ago. Here's $100 million. Do you have to use XRP? No. What do you have to do with it? Anything you want. Okay. How about give 100 projects $1 million? How about 10 projects $10 million? What could they possibly do with that? It could be just, I mean, you think about how amazing that could be. Let's take a look at this. This is Eric Voorhees.
Oh, this is another good one. Set the stage on this one. All about gold, Bitcoin, moving in a different direction.
30 seconds of his time
Got
to
it.
you.
Okay.
And we want to hear it, sir.
Okay. First of all, a world in which gold was the money again would be a superior world to the status quo. I'll grant that. My primary concern is that the world has money that is derived out of market processes rather than out of coercive centralization of the state. The latter is extremely an un-American and dangerous plague that has existed now since at least 1971, when the dollar became a fiat currency. Anything that moves the world away from centralized control of money to market-based control of money is something that I would be in favor of. Peter, I will praise you if you can get the world to accept gold again as a form of normal money. That would be great. There are some other of us who don't wish to wait around for that, and we actually think a decentralized form of money that you can send in a digital world has value. And back in 2011, 2012, 2013, when we had our first debate, I understand that like the burden of proof was on us. We had to argue that it was a currency or that it was a money. We had to make those statements because there's no reason for anyone to believe us back then. But it's 2024, and this is a $1.2 trillion asset, one of the most liquid assets in the world, one of the top 10 assets in the entire world by market cap. I don't need to keep making the case that Bitcoin is something. The world believes it's something. You can see why if you ever go try to send a transaction internationally with a bank and you do it with Bitcoin on your phone, anyone who's done those two things will see the value immediately. And I don't have to defend it much, right? It's just growing and it's an option. There's no Bitcoiner that would force either of you to ever use it. And if you want to stay in the traditional financial system, go down with the Titanic, go for it. Many of us are choosing an alternative.
I'm on the Voorhees life raft, just so you know.
Well, I'm not going down with the ship.
Peter Schiff is funny. He's on every single day on X. Always, like he's gold maxi. He's going to tell you that gold is the only thing and Bitcoin is stupid. Well, how much money did you make with gold over 10 years, right? Maybe it doubled in price. I mean, look at Bitcoin. I mean, come on. This is such an illogical argument that Peter Schiff continues to, but someone put it up there. Who was it that said they insulted him in the nicest way possible? That was phenomenal.
That was really fun.
I mean, honestly, this is so great. It's like, guys, we would all agree tomorrow to go back. Yeah, there it is right there. Nice one, Kyle. Very good one. You know, and he's it's so right because if you think about this, tomorrow, dude, we'd go back. I would love to go back to gold. It's talked about 1971, taking us off the gold standard, right? That would be phenomenal. Let's do that. And when we can go back to that, we can't. Oh, wait, it's not going to be that possible to go back to that. All right, I'm choosing Bitcoin. And why wouldn't you choose it? And these people that go on about the transaction, who cares? None of that's important. Bitcoin, in my opinion, I don't think it's ever going away. I don't see why it would go away. There's 21 million. And when it's all said and done, the last one's mined in 2043, 2044.
It's also globally accepted at this point. So
and it's a currency in a couple countries. So like so you can shit talk it all you want. But it's a ridiculous argument. And Peter Schiff, the gold guy, is going to tell you how bad Bitcoin is. And it's not digital gold. Well, yeah, early days he said it's like digital gold. Okay, but that we sort of transcended that, right? There you go. It's a good one. I mean, yeah, he probably does. I mean, I want to think you with Schiff. There's nothing to stop anyone raising an amendment on the XRPL to propose changes to escrow, maybe OTC. You can draft one, and I'll happily submit it via GitHub. Ooh, now we're talking. There we go. Yeah, that's all we need, man. Yeah. Thanks. Sure.
Put that nail in the coffin.
Yeah, that's all we need, man.
That's a good idea. We'll draft.
Yeah. What's
the draft? We're gonna burn the escrow. Gonna do an airdrop to cover damages. And we're going to start moving, like maybe we'll take one of those billions and do a distribution to projects, create a nonprofit foundation to help support builders in the space. And then we'll run it within escrow. That'll be a nice, actually, foundation for there you go.
Yeah.
So it's planned. That's good. We'll put that into the amendment.
Yes, it's promising, Jeff. Sounds really promising.
Sounds
Sure.
perfect.
Here's a little bit of a longer clip. This is
This
I like watching this guy. So he has on a guest. This is Neil. What's his name? I forget his name. Neil. Scottish guy. Neil Oliver. So Neil Oliver has his guest on, and I've never seen her before. Maybe you guys have. I don't know who she is, but again, so this is an interesting argument. I want to hear what you guys think about this because she's talking about
let's write
Bitcoin
it.
again. Who's? Let's do it. Who's?
Do it.
So
Let's write it. We'll get up on Get Up.
yeah, there you go. It'd be like, wait a minute, what in the hell? There's already one going around for lowering the raising the transaction cost and lowering the reserve amount. That's another one and I do think that's something that's very worthy.
That's
but let's
good
listen to
too.
this. Let's listen to
Parts
her
of the wallet.
argument. Let's listen to what Neil has to say about it. Then they have a guest on. It's a little bit long, but I think it's worth watching.
Welcome back once more to the Neil Oliver Show, where my next guest is American entrepreneur Jennifer Arcuri. Welcome to the show, Jennifer.
It's Britney Spears. I'm sorry, it's Jennifer Arcuri. Do you know who this is? I don't know who this is. Do you know who this
Can
is?
you spell her
Anybody?
name so we can actually? What is
Would it be
what is
nice
her
to
last name?
put their name up on the plot?
The
You know, on
spelling
this-
of it.
He said Arcudi. I
I'm
don't
sure.
know.
Yeah, sure.
But I don't
That's
know who she is.
more of a Scottish pronunciation.
Yeah, but she has the the deer in the headlights look. But anyway, she has some interesting things to say. But I want to hear what you guys think about
Paused it. Paused
Hi,
it.
Neil.
I
How
have.
are you?
I'm
Thank
very
you
well.
for having me.
It's a pleasure. I've just been talking to German economist Richard Werner about the reality of money, about where money comes from, about the power that control of money gives to bankers and central bankers in particular. But within that area, cryptocurrency, alternatives to cash, you have very strong opinions about Bitcoin in particular, do you not? Can you illustrate to me why that is so?
Well, first of all, I love that you're having this conversation. It's really great to see it take mainstream television. It is important. I know a lot of people are concerned about their money, and I think basically it comes back to a very basic fundamental of the life cycles of currencies. And as we're seeing now, this life cycle.
There it is, Jeff. You want to type it into your Google
Arcuri.
there? While you...
Jennifer Arcuri.
Arcuri. Jennifer Arcuri, whatever he said.
Yeah.
She's
Now,
an American
now I
entrepreneur. That's
actually
good.
understand it. I definitely did not understand it when he said it.
Yeah, I didn't understand it either. I said, put the Scottish swagger on.
Oh,
it
she's
there.
in Miami, maybe. Hang on.
Is she?
I think
right.
so. She's
There you go.
an American entrepreneur.
Yeah, but what is she not?
Interesting. Oh yeah, she's a tech. She lived in London for a while. She's got a nice background.
Okay, well, good. She seems to know what she's talking about.
Considers
story
herself an ethical hacker.
Interesting.
Let's
Interessante.
see, I
Okay,
gotta open this up.
let's hear what she says about Bitcoin here.
Is coming to an end, this currency. And as history has shown us many years before, we'll always reset back to gold. It will never be Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not scalable. Bitcoin cannot take on the traffic and this whole idea that it's some, value, store of value or digital gold. I know there's a lot of Bitcoin maxis out there that will hate me for saying this, but that just simply is not true. There is no intrinsic value of Bitcoin. I'm a very
Jeff, you want to pull the market? You want to pull the price of Bitcoin up? We can see. It's just it's an enigma, right? It's
Did she say
2009.
there's no? When was this video from?
Value. This is recent.
Is this recent? Seriously?
Yeah. This is
no intrinsic value.
There's no intrinsic value, Jeff. Even if it was 5 years ago, come on. There's no intrinsic
none.
value of Bitcoin. So there you go.
Zero.
That's what you said right
It
there.
wasn't even up today. It wasn't intrinsically up. That's a
But
thing.
where's it at right now? There you go. 64K, right? Just a number, Jeff. It's not real. It's
Don't
just
worry about it.
Just
Don't
talking about the
worry about it.
intrinsic value. 64,
Yeah.
And when you remember last year, it was like in September, October, it was 24K. Jeez, I'm not a math expert, Jeff, but 24K is something. 64K is something different.
Who said everybody needs conditioner?
We all need
Except
some
for me.
conditioner.
I
Except
don't
for
need
Jeff.
I don't need conditioner.
Yeah, I
There you
like
go.
the conditioner in the ends and like, leave it in there and,
Our sounds like a car. That's what.
a cootie. A cootie.
Why would she say that? Because she wants you to sell Bitcoin. What would be what's her game? Like what is the overall like end game of her going after Bitcoin? Like what's her other than wanting to talk about it? And that's why they brought her in because she's because of her background in technology.
She'd make a good girlfriend for you, Alchemist. Right there. There you go. Uh-oh. It's war words.
Oh wow. She said in 21 she had an affair with Boris Johnson from 2012 to 2016.
Oh, that's right. Do recall that. She was the other one. Okay, well there you go.
She acted for a little bit of filmmaking. She owned a video streaming site for filmmakers called U Broadcast.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Okay.
She's a self-described ethical hacker. That's interesting.
I wonder if he's going to ask her about
That's her background is in technology. So I'm sure.
There you go. She's an ethical hacker.
Pro advocate for digital assets in the crypto space. I am extremely pro blockchain, but never Bitcoin. I believe Bitcoin.
Be pro blockchain, but not pro Bitcoin. Like Jeff, that doesn't make.
How can you not be pro Bitcoin?
And why would
a little bit?
Bitcoin? I don't get it.
I don't know.
Is being used as a trap, another Trojan horse. And as you and I have mentioned many times, I see them manipulating the price.
Yeah, that's one hell of a Trojan horse. What are we on the 12th or 13th year, Jeff? That's a slow-moving Trojan horse right there, man. That's a slow mover.
Prices of gold and silver to particularly keep the nominal price down so that banks have the ability to buy in and at these low manipulated prices. And then as you've seen the years of the narrative shift on Bitcoin, Bitcoin's a beta. Bitcoin was introduced after the last 2008 crash. So then we bring in this exercise of digital currency. And at first it was the drug users and the cartel, and now they're picking it up and bringing it into mainstream. And a lot of people bought into the concept that it was outside the system. Neil, you and I know that's just simply not true. It's completely inside the system. When they created a Bitcoin ETF, they created an ability to short the market. They now are controlling the system.
Jennifer, can you explain?
That's an interesting concept.
They control the system with ETF. I mean,
through an ETF, can you control the price of the Bitcoin through the ETF? You gain more exposure.
Well, you can short it, but so what? I mean, what does that mean? You're gonna like?
I like the ETF. Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, Walter says so she can be relevant, and he says, we gotta take that out of there. I don't know why. Sometimes it just does that.
Yeah, sometimes it overlaps it. I don't know.
Pull the Trojan horse. Yeah, we're waiting. It's what I'd like to find
inside
out.
the system has no numerical value, then it's not worthless.
Right. This is why,
because she's saying it's in the system. It's a Trojan horse, but intrinsically has no value, but it has value. But they're yeah.
And if you ever wanted to see,
I don't understand where she's coming from on this.
Where it got all the street cred was Wall Street, right? Wall Street's in on the ETF. So you think they're going in on something that's going, I mean, it's a tough sell.
Centralized Bitcoin.
Here we go.
Many myths around Bitcoin.
Can you explain to my...
Just try to mute her. He's like trying to hit the button. I love this guy, by the way. He's fantastic. Watch him with them.
Jennifer, can you explain?
So there's many myths around Bitcoin.
Can you explain to my audience why Bitcoin continues to reach the values that it does? I remember it coming in and a Bitcoin was worth whatever, less than $1. I haven't looked at it in the last 10 minutes, but I've seen it recently up at around $60,000 for a single Bitcoin. How can that scale of fluctuation be possible?
So I know a lot of people, because of my Bitcoin doubts, will try to make out that I don't understand what I'm talking about. But the time to buy in on Bitcoin was 10 years ago, Neil, not now. 10 years ago when you were able...
is Neil gonna have Rebecca on when it's 300,000 a Bitcoin and say, well,
Probably. You should bring Michael Saylor on.
It was 3 years old. Michael Saylor, geez, oh, that should have been point counter. Can you imagine Saylor? He would just go nuts.
Monty Python beats Russell Brand. That's exactly it. Oh my God. That's perfect. That's who this guy is. It's totally like
good.
a Monty Python, meets Russell Brand. That's awesome.
To build the rig yourself and build it. Now it's just too expensive. It's costly and labor intensive. There's no incentive for these validators for the people running the network to be rewarded, especially after this recent Bitcoin halving. And as it continues to halve.
Yeah, and that's why all the Bitcoin miners stopped mining Bitcoin. Okay, that's what would have happened if your statement was in fact true.
That's why more people. Yeah, there's more mining.
There'll be less and less incentive for it to be mined. So proof of stake, proof of work doesn't work. I mean, what we're seeing here, where they're trying to create Bitcoin out of nothing and then now create a value around it. I believe this is a narrative, a very concerted narrative here.
What did you just say? It doesn't even make any sense. They're trying to Bitcoin out of nothing.
I don't know why she's attacking Bitcoin.
Tell me what's the value of the U.S. dollar is. Tell me what the dollar. What's the value of the euro? I mean, of the yen. Like, what's the value of it? It's a piece of paper. It's fiat currency.
Yeah, but to Alchemist's point, what's the alternative? Like,
I don't know.
I get it. You want to attack Bitcoin and the proof of work and all this. Now, move argument into something. Give us the other side of it.
Carry a backpack of gold onto a flight
to push the plebs into this digital currency, which will be regulated, as we're seeing with the Ripple case coming on. And right now it's the XRP Vegas event going on. Shout out to everybody out there. They're creating an XRP.
That's it.
She's a XRP maxi, Jeff.
I knew it.
Anyway, Neil,
I knew it.
Going, look at Neil. Look at this, right?
By the way,
did call you a pleb, yeah. Anyway, the plebs are stupid. You're stupid people.
Plebs.
Hey, XRP Vegas is going on. Guess who wants to speak at XRP Vegas next year, Jeff? Any thoughts?
XRP Unleashed film that will be produced that is going to document the corruption that's been going on with the SEC and
she goes on, and how 2 plugs back to back. The XRP film and now this. Wow. Sorry, I hit the wrong. Let's see, what do we hear?
Daily basis. It's not a store of value because there's no value to it.
There's no value.
Hold that thought, Jennifer Arcuri. Andrew Ebone, do you have FOMO? Do you have fear of missing out on Bitcoin, or are you glad that ship sailed with that?
I think as soon as I was hearing Jennifer speak, I think I knew you were asking, what is this explanation for these?
That's even better. That guy's been sitting in the studio this whole time.
I'm listening. He's laughing.
No idea. He's like, hang on a second. Oh, you've been sitting here for like an hour and a half. Why don't you come in and comment now? That was hilarious. That was the best.
Crazy valuation. They are crazy. FOMO, fear of missing out, is what drove it, because people want to. They hear everybody say we're multimillionaires for doing nothing overnight. That sort of greed factor. But I think I
like her too. I think she's actually
Jeff
is actually
they're
fun.
multimillionaires for doing nothing overnight. Okay, you bought Apple stock 20 years ago. You just held on to it, and you made a shit ton of money. You did nothing, Jeff. They invested. Okay, they took a shot. And they risked it where other people didn't have the balls to do it, right? They said, "Hey, I'm rolling in $1,000 on this stuff. It could just be like burning it," and they made money. They took a shot. You didn't, but they did nothing, Jeff. They're just a bunch of plebs. You know what I mean? XRP grifter is her. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
There's this one. Oh, I didn't cover it up again.
Hang on a second. Go ahead, put it back up.
Read that one.
I agree with her that the concept of decentralized Bitcoin was essentially hijacked by the SEC, pulling into regulatory control of the Wall Street ETFs and futures. Yeah, but I still don't see how it's still not. Well, I don't know if I 100% agree with that statement, but anyway.
He does keep trying to mute her.
He's like, dude, stop it. Shut up. Especially when she was
God,
especially when she was doing the plugin. Like, Jeff, that's a no-no. You don't go on there and say, by the way, XRP Vegas is happening. You know, when
baby.
there's an XRP film coming out, which is going to
Vegas.
document all of this.
Yeah.
I don't know, Jeff. You were asking when is this? Well, when do you think it is?
Now we know. Now we
there
know
you
it's
go.
right
This is
now.
break
It actually
down the
just
jargon
happened.
because a lot of people will be watching it and
Happening
say,
as we
well, we don't
speak.
really understand
Actually
what is a
live.
Bitcoin valuation. They are crazy.
What are you saying, Jeff?
He's a futurist and lawyer. Andrew Bourne.
Yeah.
E.
Tells you a
Bourne.
lot. He might as
So
well just
his
be a
name is
politician.
Scottish.
FOMO, fear of missing out, is what drove it because people wanted to. They hear everybody say we're multimillionaires for doing nothing overnight. That sort of greed factor. But I think, as I always like to do, is break down the jargon because a lot of people will be watching it and say, well, we don't really understand what is a Bitcoin. And I think whoever better than Jennifer just to explain in simple terms what it is.
Jennifer, just a quick, almost a yes or no answer. Do you think that Bitcoin was always brought in, was always going to be a trap? Or do you think there was an earlier period where it might have been something else entirely? Or was it simply created, as you say, as a Trojan Neil Oliver show?
I did it again.
But I think, as I always like to do, is break the...
Was brought in, was always going...
Yeah, it's time, isn't it, Jeff?
He was on a roll.
Yeah. He was on a roll. I know. But by the way, I was just looking at his hair. I was like, he doesn't need any conditioner. He's got good looking hair. Better than, yeah.
That's because he uses conditioner.
There you go. It's a really nice looking
to be a trap? Or do you think there was an earlier period where it might have been something else entirely? Or was it simply created, as you say, as a Trojan horse or as a trap for the gullible?
Well, it was created after the last financial crisis. So I absolutely believe it was an exercise, a beta exercise to get people in. And ultimately, knowing that we are coming to the end of this life cycle of a fiat currency, you know, what better way to shovel the plebs into the paddocks of Bitcoin? You know, look over here while we do this. You know, there's nothing that's going to replace physical gold and silver. Centuries have shown us this. And as far as, you know, what is Bitcoin? Well, everyone talks about it being this decentralized currency. That's actually a misconception. It's a software that is centralized under a foundation, and it determines if Bitcoin has needs improvement protocols known as BIPs, and they're adapted under this software. So the individuals make the changes to how this software works. And this goes back to the mining, because now that we've been mining 10, 15 years, the rewards are just not there. And it's too costly and expensive, the electronic overhead to run these mines. So there's really no point in running this. So this mathematical protocol, this you know, equation that people are looking in as a store of value, this piece of digital gold, well, that's just not true.
Jennifer,
nothing is going
That's
to
so
replace
irrelevant,
real
though.
gold.
You know, Chip, think about, so if you're generating more revenue than your expenditures, you're making money. So if your mining effort, let's say it costs whatever it costs in electricity, you know, you're spending a lot of money, but if you're making, for every 1,000 you spend, you make whatever margin profit, you're making a profit. If you want a 25, 30% margin, you know, on your efforts, you're making a 30% margin. You're probably making more than that. But why is it relevant how expensive it is to mine it? Unless it costs you more to mine than what you can earn. That's the only relevancy.
Right, and the whole idea was designed to increase in value because of the halving, right? So if you were, you know, what did you get for mining it when it was $1? You know, what was your? I mean, your rewards were higher, but still, I mean, when you look at it by today, the whole idea is it's supposed to go up in value, right? But her saying that it has no intrinsic value, I don't know, that's lost on me.
The heat from the miners are causing Antarctica to melt, causing global warming. That's what it is.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Yeah, Stephen Yeroff said on the program that Satoshi is singular and real.
That's right.
Yeah, said that right here. Somebody asked them from there. It was a fantastic show. If you didn't see that show, it was really,
oh my God,
really phenomenal interview. What was even better is Jeff and I hung out with Stephen for like another hour.
Oh my God, that was awesome. We had another show.
We almost had another show inside of a show, so it was great.
Yeah.
We just got to chill.
But we are preparing for part 2, which will be great. We'll get him on at some point for that. That was outstanding.
Yeah, Bitcoin, Josh says, so Bitcoin will last at least as long as fiat, right?
At least, yeah. That's right.
Fiat,
Yeah,
So
that hasn't been around that long.
this is my buddy. He goes, no, that's a scam. It's a Ponzi scheme. I'm like, well, you do know what a Ponzi scheme is, right? All the money flows up to the top, and this is not a Ponzi scheme. You can't define it as a Ponzi scheme. He goes, but it's not backed by anything. I'm like, well, what's the dollar backed by? He's like, after some thought, he said, well, the U.S. government. I'm like, what's that backed by? He's like, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force. I'm like, okay, so what are they going to do about it, right? The value crashes. They're basically a lot of work, right?
That's a good point there, but mining costs is not the same as the cost of overhead of transacting on the exchange. So if you look at the overall cost of moving a Bitcoin across the exchange, but the thing is, if you get like a spend the bits and you can move your Bitcoin across the XRPL and you can do it for fractions, on a penny, then
Or Lightning.
Or Lightning, if that works.
Lightning just plugged into Coinbase. They're like saying sub penny transactions. So
They're
I
moving
don't
the
know.
technology. They're figuring it out. How can you migrate a Bitcoin? Ethereum, not so much. Still too costly to move an Ethereum.
Electronic overhead here. There you go. Bloody batteries are dead. I can't shut her off. Anyway, that's all the time we have. People,
that was awesome.
Another great show. I know we watched a lot more videos.
That was a good one.
That's what we just found. Sometimes when you're researching, you just came across. We had one X post today. We run down a lot of rabbit holes, talked about a lot of stuff. And as always, guys, thank you for showing up and supporting the show. Really appreciate you guys. Best and brightest minds in crypto. And you guys can use logic.
And together here.
Yeah, there you go, Jeff. What else you want to say before we get out of here?
Let's see.
Ciao till next time. Yeah, Fabio. Ciao, my man. Ciao. Thank you.
I got one more thing for you guys.
You got one more thing? Let's put it on, my man. What do you she's silly.
Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. What's up, big Oh, what's up?
That was fantastic,
Oh, God.
That was absolutely fantastic.
And that's
God,
that's how we do it.
You can never get enough of that. So there you
Buy
go.
some
Wow.
conditioner. Thank you,
Nice,
Charles.
I appreciate you. Thank you for supporting the channel, man. Really appreciate that. Buy some conditioner. Yeah, conditioner is a good thing. By the way, I got Jeff. You know this? There's like this natural brand, and I thought they have really interesting scents. They just came out with Girl Scout cookie scents, like thin. You can buy the mints. I'm like, I don't want to wash my hair with that, but I did get. I did
shampoo.
And conditioner.
That's when you want to eat it.
Yeah, shampoo and conditioner. I got one that's like spicy cinnamon, and I'm like, dude, it feels like I'm washing my hair with I don't know. So it's not right. It's just supposed to smell like shampoo and conditioner.
That's right.
GMO, yeah, GMO is about the right. It's called. This actually has ingredients you can pronounce, which is why I like to use it. I don't know if it works. So
right. Coconut
that's
oil.
That's what it is, man. Thank you for that, Charles. Man, appreciate you. All right, that's all we got, Jeff. Say what you want to say, and let's go. Let's get out of here.
That's it.
I mean it.
See you
This
guys Wednesday.
Jeff. That's it. I expected so much more. That's all he's got, man.
That's all I got. Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Bringing it. All right. We'll see you guys on Chip and Jeff. See you guys.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.